Hello friends, welcome to this next video of Mineral Exploration Academy. Today we will be learning about uranium exploration. Our teacher today is Mr. Pramod Kumar. Mr. Pramod Kumar has spent 37 years in exploring all around India, mostly in uranium and rare earth minerals. He retired as the Additional Director of the Directorate of Atomic Minerals Research and Exploration, the AMD, and has worked all around the country in different types of uranium depositional environments. He has a few uranium discoveries under his belt. Today, he will be teaching us about the uranium provinces in India, various uranium deposits that have been found all over India, and he will be taking up as a case study in detail the carbonate hosted Tumulpalli uranium deposit in Kadapa in Andhra Pradesh. He will be explaining why Tumulpalli is such a unique deposit, what makes it unique, what have been the exploration challenges and the metallurgical challenges in Tumulpalli, and how the AMD resolved those challenges. Welcome, Pramodji.
Good morning and thank you, Amit. So today we will discuss some of the case histories of uranium exploration in India. So first I will just give a brief overview what we have, the total uranium deposits and total scenario of uranium in the country. So here we can see the major uranium provinces in India. So if I start from eastern side, we can see this Mahadek basin of Meghalaya. It is here. This is that sedimentary type of uranium province. Then we have a Singhbum shear zone. It is a very long 200-kilometer shear zone in which we have 7 working mines as of now, and since 1950 we are working here. Then we have this Kadapa basin. This is yet another uranium province, and in this Kadapa basin we have now 2 sectors, the southern portion as well as the northern portion. So in both the sides of Kadapa basin we have got uranium mineralization. Then for the last decade or so, this North Delhi fold belt here in Rajasthan, along this linear line, we have also got the uranium mineralization. So basically these are the main uranium provinces in the country. Now if you see this map, we can see various uranium deposits. So along the Singhbum shear zone, we have got this major Jadugoda, well known since 1960s. We are working here, and Narva Pahad. And besides that, there are few more. I will show you on the next slide. In the Mahadek Basin, we have one Domiasyat uranium deposit and also Wakhan uranium deposits. So these are sandstone hosted uranium mineralization. In the Kadapa Basin, we have this Tumlapalli, the southern Kadapa Basin, and it is a strata-bound type uranium mineralization. Whereas in the northern Kadapa Basin, we have unconformity related, not exactly unconformity type, but unconformity related uranium mineralization. Beside this, there are 2 more proterozoic basins where we are working. This is Bogi and Bhima, 2 basins. So some indications, good indications are there, but still these are being worked. Then as I discussed already, this is the North Delhi fold belt, and along this also one uranium deposit has been established, that is Rohil deposit. Now this is the image of Singhbum shear zone. If you can see very closely, this Jadugoda deposit is here. Then we have got Narva Pahad and Turamdi. Then we have Bangordi on the other side. So this is the famous river, that Sonbhadra, Suvarnrekha river, along which here we see all that Singhbum shear zone, which is 200-kilometer arcuate fashion. So this side is the Singhbum granite, this side is the Dalma volcanics, and in between we have got this shear zone. Along this shear zone, these are the deposits we can see here. This is a Jadugoda deposit, this is Bhatin deposit, Narva Pahad, This is Turamdi and Bandhuhuram. So all along this shear zone, we have got the mineralization. And in extreme southeast, we have got this Bhagjata deposit. So these are the working mines. Besides that, there are number of places where the investigation and detailed evaluation for uranium is being worked out. Okay, now coming to the main case history of Kadapa. Now this is a map of the Kadapa basin. We can show it here. You can see it in the blow up. This is the in this shape, very typical kidney shape basin, that is Kadapa basin of Proterozoic age in India. And here in the southern portion, these are the number of anomalies and a major deposit which has been discovered here, that is known as Tumlapalli deposit. On the other side, on the northern basin also, there are certain deposits, Chitriyal, Lambapur, Pedagattu and Koppunuru. They are unconformity related. Now coming to the story of this Tumlapalli deposit, first we will see that, one second. Yeah. Now we see this stratigraphy, general stratigraphy. We can see the basement here is the basement granite gneiss, over which we have this sedimentary basin, and it starts with the Gulcheru formation, Gulcheru quartzite. So this is quartzite cum conglomerate. Over this we have this Vempalli limestone or Vempalli formation, and then again we have this Pulivendla quartzites and Tapatri shales, and it goes beyond. It's a very thick sedimentary basin. Now coming to this Vempalli, which is a phosphatic dolostone actually, and conventionally this dolostone or limestone was never thought to host uranium mineralization. The reason being that the limestone, the uranium remains in oxidized form. So it will not get deposited and it will never form a deposit. So this was the convention for the 50 years or so. Till such time, uranium occurrences was reported here. Actually, because this dolostone is phosphatic, so GSI was working for phosphate in this belt. So they took some samples, and when they analyzed it for phosphate, they also analyzed that some uranium values are there. And then those values are little higher than normal. Now, for example, Jadugoda, we are working at 0.05 or 0.06%, whereas here the values of 0.03 and 0.04% of uranium, they were reported in the phosphatic dolostone samples by the Geological Survey of India. Geological Survey of India intimated AMD that there are certain values of uranium, and AMD took up the survey. Now, just to mention that this area in 1950s was also surveyed, but since it was a dolostone and dolostone does not host the uranium mineralization, so this was always ignored. Now, when GSI reported certain samples, so the precise location of those sample points were resurveyed, and there we got the radioactivity on the surface. So this entire belt was a phosphatic dolostone, along which we also see stromatolitic structures. Now these stromatolites are very important. They form a colony and they also form a reducing environment. So whatever uranium was there in the solution here, that stromatolites reduced the uranium and made it into a thin layer, but very widespread layer. So when we surveyed it, we found that over kilometers, this radioactivity is spread. So initially it was about 40 to 50 kilometers. Later on, it was extended to about 120 kilometers. So what we started that along this phosphatic and stromatic dolostone formation, they were looking very shallow, as was seen by the sedimentary structure, the ripple marks and all, the current bedding and all. So very shallow drilling, DTH drilling of about 20-meter borehole depth range that was drilled here. Thereafter, we got that a potential belt of about 3 kilometers, which shows very consistent uranium mineralization. Now, seeing this, the deeper drilling program was taken. Now, here you can see this is that exploration block, which was earlier established. And then later on, after drilling, see, this was the area. These are the early boreholes where just about 20 meter or so, within 50 meters, we got the mineralization all along the strike length. Then when we drilled into deeper sections, we got the consistency of this mineralization, as we can see here. Now, if you see this red line is the uranium mineralization band, which is very consistently extending just like a blanket sheet. And even a deep borehole of about 1,000 meter also indicated the presence of the mineralization. Now this was very unique. Now this blue color is all that dolomitic limestone. Then in the base we have got this phosphatic stromatolitic horizon, and then we get this quartzites of Gulcherus. So this is the interface along which we are getting the uranium mineralization, and very consistently. So it is only a one section which I have shown here. Now here if you see, this is a dike. Now this dike is a later intrusive here, but it has not disturbed the continuity of the mineralization. The mineralization is very continuous, exactly just like a table. So that is why we are calling it a stratiform. It is forming an strata itself within the phosphatic dolostone. So this was a major discovery, though the grade of uranium mineralization is very medium here, we can say low by world standard, nearly 0.045%. But the size of the uranium mineralization is huge. Presently, this is the largest deposit in the world. Now it hosts around 1.5 lakh tons of uranium oxide in the entire complex. Now this small block is the mining block, which is now taken over by Uranium Corporation of India. They have started the mining, and the leaching, the metallurgical process of this host rock was again a big challenge. The reason being that in other places like Singhbhum and Meghalaya, we treat the ore with acid. Normally it is sulfuric acid, H2SO4, which oxidizes the uranium, and the uranium is taken into the leach, the leach liquor, which is pregnant with uranium, and then it is further treated and uranium is recovered. In the case of Tumulapalli, what happened? The host rock is a dolostone, a limestone. Now, this limestone reacts with the acid. That means the acid consumption of in the limestone will be 1:1. For 1 kg, we will have to spend 1 kg of acid. Now, that is very uneconomical. So, this remained a challenge. Thereafter, what happened that in the BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center laboratory, a new experiment was done, and the alkaline route of leaching was adopted. So instead of using the acid route, alkaline route was followed. And after a time of say 3 to 5 years, we got the success result. And then the alkaline were used and now still being used, and the uranium is being mobilized, and then again it is recovered. So that is another unique point in this deposit. So first unique point is that the host rock of this uranium is phosphatic dolostone, or we can say limestone in general, which is not found anywhere in the world. And the second important thing is that instead of sulfuric acid or acid route, we are using the alkaline route for the leaching. And as of now, the work is going on. The another advantage is the huge strike length. Now we can say about 7 to 10 kilometer strike length is there. All these black blocks you can see, they are potential mining blocks. So because of this huge strike length, the number of openings of mine can be plenty. So your production will be very fast. So now it is being worked out that the production per day production will be increased, and then adopting to the alkaline route of metallurgy, the uranium can be recovered at profit. So this is the story of Tumlapalli. We can see here, this is the mine phase. We have, this is a decline. A decline is a very shallow dipping edit type of thing. So we reach the ore body through a decline, and all your transport trucks, everything can simply ply right up to the ore body, and the haulage is again through this decline. It can come on the surface. So work is very fast. Then we can see this is the township of Tumlapalli, where earlier there was a jungle. Now today it is a working plant, and a mill is also there. The mill that we see in Singhbhum at Toramdi and Jaduguda, same type of mill, but the alkali route is adopted here. Now coming to Meghalaya in the northeast, this is the Meghalaya state, and this is a Meghalaya basin in the northeastern part of India. Here also, this is the topography, a thick jungle and deep slopes, valleys, gorges, and very swift flowing rivers. All along this, also we have got the sandstone hosted uranium deposits. So these are the places. One is Domia Syat. It was discovered in early 90s. Then this Wakhet and Wakhun all in the same vicinity. But because of certain socio-political problem, the mining has not yet started. Though it is a very good deposit technically and very shallow. It can be mined very easily. We can see this. This is the Bangladesh boundary, and all along this we have got in the Meghalaya basin. All these red spots are the uranium anomalies, and these are the deposits that that have been proved in the sandstone host of Cretaceous age. Now this we can see the image. So these are also the potential block right from east to west. We have about 80-kilometer long zone where uranium mineralization is located, and also there are further potentials. Now this holds about 10% of India's uranium resources, but and very shallow, less than 50 meter, and suitable for open cast mining. And there are more and more prospects, but because of certain reasons, the mining has not yet started. So as a whole, we can see that in India, these are the total promising provinces. Vindhyan Basin is also a promising basin, but so far the success has eluded us. Then there are Bijawar basins, Shillong basin. These are all Proterozoic basins, which are very potential. Then Lesser Himalayas also we have worked, but a deposit is still not discovered there, though good indications of mineralization are very much there. Then other basins, Kaladgi Basin, and this Dharwad QPC yesterday I discussed in the quartz pebble conglomerate. A long belt is there, but again, a deposit like that of Witwatersrand or Brazil Jacobina, that type of deposit has not been discovered, but occurrences in the QPC, the oldest rock which hosts the uranium mineralization in the world, quartz pebble conglomerate, that do occur in Karnataka and southern part of it in the Kerala, but deposits are yet not been discovered. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pramodji. It's wonderful that you presented about Tumulpalli. I recall having visited Tumulpalli with you in 1997.
That's right. That's right.
Very early stage at that time.
Yeah, and that what it was upcoming. I mean, Nobody thought that it will become a huge deposit, but now it is a reality. So
Yeah.
what is the lesson learned here? That in exploration, we cannot make a thumb rule, and we have to be optimistic, and we cannot ignore. We have to refute the wrong dogmas. Sometimes we make a dogma that no, this cannot host uranium, or here we cannot find this metal. So all that is proven wrong. We must be very optimistic. We must keep our eyes open and explore everywhere, wherever the possibility we can see. With slight indication also we should work and continue to work. That is the lesson we have learned at Tumlapalli. It is a unique deposit, as I told you. The limestone does not host uranium. And the second challenge was the recovery from the dolostone, because the acid route, well established route for the uranium metallurgy, was not at all suitable there. So alkaline route was adopted, and that is also first in the world. And very successfully, India is now recovering uranium from Tumlapalli, and it is in size the largest deposit in the world. So that is the thrill of exploration, and I can say the challenge of exploration.
I've worked in only one uranium deposit, that was Abyova in Niger, and that
Uh-huh.
also is a very well explored deposit. What I recall is that when I started there
Yeah,
was old maps and data that was available with the government, and a
right.
lot of uranium showings were recorded by Areva in 1950s,
I see.
all along the margin of the basin.
Yeah,
And not only that, they had drilled hundreds of drill holes there, and all of them were unsuccessful.
yes,
Later on, when we did a very detailed study, we decided that, or we found that there are paleo channels that
yeah,
the actual mineralization is like 3 or 4 kilometers removed down dip from the uranium showings that were showing up on the surface on aerobags.
oh,
And
wonderful. Yeah,
that's where we actually found a wonderful sediment sandstone hosted roll front stratiform deposit, and
yeah.
that also has it's a significant size uranium deposit now.
Wonderful. So these are the lessons. I mean, exploration is really very challenging, and we have to be optimistic all the time. And every time we must be thinking and making the model and investigate that model, interrogate that model, collect all the evidences, and wherever we see the convergence of evidences, we can work. And definitely, the rewards are definitely, we will receive the dividends. Absolutely, there's no doubt.
Also, it's very interesting when you mentioned about the Vindhyan Basin. I recall having visited a contact of Lower Vindhyan and Upper Vindhyan near Salkhan, where it's a
Uh-huh.
stromatolite bed. So I don't
Yeah.
know what it's in the future, but there's a very large stromatolite horizon just at the base of
Yes.
the Markundi fault. That's what I recall.
Exactly, you are very right. We have worked there. So some indications of uranium we got, some belt also we got, but still I think the deposit scale is yet to be discovered there. But definitely, as you say, Vindhyan is a very potential basin and very large basin. The largest basin of our country is the Vindhyan basin. But so far we have not discovered a deposit. Many occurrences are there, and the area that you are talking is quite tough to work, but still we have got indications of uranium there, and it is worth pursuing. I agree with you.
Thank you so much, Pramod.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching the video. I invite you all to please visit the Mineral Exploration Academy website and register yourself. The registration is free, and registration is open to students, teachers, professionals, or anybody who is interested in mineral exploration. The registration will also provide you an access to be able to ask questions from our experts, and also provide an opportunity for established experts to answer and interact with the students. The registration form is available on the Mineral Exploration Academy website. I would also encourage you to look at the editorials and opinion sections and visit the student question and answer section at the bottom here. In the student question and answer section, the questions asked by the students are being answered by our experts. Our experts are the top people in the field, and it would be a wonderful learning opportunity for the students for probably the questions that occurred to you but you could not ask, or to review questions what have occurred to other people and get the answers the different experts are providing. Thank you so much, and I look forward to interacting with you a lot more.